All right, Coach, go ahead and make an opening statement.
Okay, we're looking forward to our second go-around in the Pac-12. Looking at last year, it was about what we expected. I don't think anything caught us by surprise or off guard. We expected a bunch of good players in the league, which we got, particularly at the skill position. Seems like every week we're facing a great receiver and running back and quarterback. So, that combined with excellent coaching and great venues to play in, I would say without a doubt that it was as we expected it to be. We're excited about our second opportunity coming into the in the Pac-12 this season, a little more familiar with the league and just having gone through it the one time. But looking at our football team, got a lot of returning starters, a lot of experience coming back in a bunch of different areas. I think we've helped ourselves at quarterback maybe as much as we possibly could have. We got Jordan Wynn back, our starter, John Hayes, who did such a great job as a backup last year, and we added to that Travis Wilson, Chase Hansen, two outstanding freshmen. So we went from a position that was very lean to one that is one of the strong suits on the football team. Got a great stable of running backs, headlined by this guy right here, John White, over 1,500 yards last year, over 300 carries. So we got him back for his senior year. Receivers are a good depth at the receiver position. Interior line is very solid. You're talking about centers and guards. Offensive tackle is probably, well, it's not probably, it is our position of most concern going into fall camp, making sure we get that solidified. Defensively, we expect to be strong again, anchored by star Lotulelei over here to my left. I think he's in my opinion, the best interior defensive lineman in the country. He was voted the best lineman in the Pac-12 last year by his peers, winning the Morris Trophy. And so got some things going for us, special teams-wise. Got all our specialists back, our holders, our snappers, our kickers, they're all back in place. So we feel like we've got a solid chance this year to compete in the South. We had some coaching changes. We got the new offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson, 25 years old, youngest offensive coordinator in the country, who's going to take over the reins of the offense. Had two other coaching changes, so we had some transition there. But all in all, it was a very good spring. Summer workouts, players are working hard, and we're excited to get going next week. Players report on Wednesday of next week, August 1st. Start practicing August 2nd, and away we go. So, questions?
Down here, second row on the end.
Kyle, what do you expect from the offense under Brian, and how do you feel he's fared, I guess, picking up so far?
Okay, well, first of all, we expect to be more prolific on offense than we were last year. We think we have to be. If we're going to win the Pac-12 South, which is our goal, it's got to be more than just great defense. We have to have more production offensively. Brian he's tweaked things in spring a little bit. There's no wholesale changes, but we're gravitating more back to what we did prior to Norm Chow's arrival. That's a little more spread element to the offense and get the ball in space a little bit more. But that's got to happen. If we're gonna contend, then we've got to be more productive on offense than we were last year.
On the far left, fourth row.
Hi, Tom Fitzgerald, San Francisco Chronicle. Star, could you describe or explain why you decided to come back, and if you, what were you told, how high you would have gone if you had gone in the draft this year?
Yeah, pretty much my decision for coming back, I kind of talked it over with my family. We decided that it was the best thing for me because I didn't feel like I was ready to take the next step yet. There's still a lot of things that I need to work on as a football player. So, and as far as knowing what round, I didn't really pay too much attention to that. I didn't ask. I kind of had my decision made, and that's what I went with.
Down here, second row in the center.
Coach Whittingham, you mentioned you have the youngest coordinator in FBS, in Brian Johnson. Could you talk a little bit about the decision to promote him, and were you planning on promoting him after Coach Chow left the program all along?
Well, and Brian, he's a special kid. He's always been ahead of the curve his entire life. He signed with us as a 16-year-old senior out of Baytown, Lee, Texas. He's a guy that is used to being young for whatever it is he's doing his entire life. He got to kindergarten, and apparently a week or two later they promoted him to second grade. I mean, that's just the kind of kid he is. And so, when Norm left, first thing we did is we conducted a nationwide search. It wasn't a bang-bang deal. I knew Brian was a strong candidate, as was Aaron Roderick, who was on our staff as well, but did our due diligence, interviewed several people. It took about a 35-day process to get through the whole thing. And when all was said and done, it was very apparent, at least to me, that the two best candidates were right there on our staff, and Brian and Aaron, and you know, struggled a little bit with the you know, the youthfulness of Brian, but bottom line is, in my opinion, he was the best man for the job and what we needed at the time. And you know, I think you know, the way he handled himself as a quarterback, I see those same qualities and that same demeanor in him as a coordinator, at least in this past spring. I know he hasn't called a game yet. There's a lot of things that are going to transpire in the future that he's never been through. But just judging from how he handled spring, how he relates to the players, his grasp of the offense, the way he called the scrimmages, which is as close to game simulation as you can get, was all very positive.
Question in the center. Right here in the left center. Go ahead, yeah.
Coach, with Brian having just recently led the team to the Sugar Bowl and undefeated season, how do you feel like that resonates with the players being so in recent history, almost as one of their contemporaries?
I'm sorry, I lost that last part of the question.
Oh yeah, with him almost being like one of the current team's contemporaries, how have you seen that resonate with the kids? Yeah,
I think it's you know, it's a double-edged sword in certain ways. Number one, it's a positive in the respect that he can relate to the players. I mean, he understands what they're going through, what they're thinking, how they're thinking. But on the other side of that coin, and it's really holds true for any young coach, is you got to make sure you keep that separation between coach and player. And there is still a few guys on the roster that were on the team when he was, you know, the quarterback in 08. It was 2008, the season of 08, where he was the quarterback for us, and of course the Sugar Bowl in January of 09. But there's only a handful of guys left on the team that were his teammates, and so I think he's handled it very well. He understands the separation that needs to be there and not cross that line as far as you know, a player and a coach, and making sure that he keeps that division. But you know, in recruiting, it's very similar in recruiting. You know, he's able to relate to these recruits, and he's had a very good start as a recruiter, signed some very good players just in the last couple of years that he's been on our staff.
We'll stay right in the center.
Kyle, what's your expectation for Junior Salt this year?
Junior Salt, you know, he's just another of a very deep and talented defensive line, you know, headlined by Starr right here. He's the leader of that group, obviously, and we got the Kruger brothers and Nate Fakahafua. I mean, we got a whole host of guys that, you know, we're very blessed at the defensive front, and Junior brings one more exceptional talent to that group. And we've always, I say always, last 8, 9, 10 years, we've played a bunch of defensive linemen. If we have 8 or 9 or 10 guys that can help us, they're all going to play. And so it's, in a way, it's a big plus to have him enter that group. It gives us another guy that we have confidence in, and keeping other guys fresh. I mean, the defensive line is a very demanding position. You're banging every snap, and if you can rotate guys through there and keep them fresh, that's to your advantage. And we think that Junior is in the same mold as all the other defensive linemen we've had come through here. I think we've put, you know, 10 or 12 defensive linemen in the NFL over the last 9 or 10 years, and so he's right in the same mold of those guys.
And Starr, for you, you're obviously getting tons of attention. I'm sure people tell you on a daily basis about the new draft boards that has you in the top 10, top 5, maybe even number 1. How does that affect you? How is it tough to deal with that type of attention and that hype?
Not really tough. Trying to put all the individual things to the side. Really trying to focus on what our team needs to accomplish this season. Like Coach said, last year was really our coming out party, so to speak, but we didn't really have the season that we hoped for. And this season is what we're really focused on, is what we need to accomplish as a team, as a defense, and as an offense. So that's really what my focus has been towards.
On the far right.
Yes, John Krempacker, San Francisco Chronicle. Starr, you mentioned earlier that there are some things you still have to work on for you to get ready for the next level. What are those things? What are you going to try to work on individually this season?
A lot of my skills as a defensive lineman, you know, hand placement, footwork, and just getting bigger, faster, stronger. That's something that every football player wants to work on and needs to improve on. So that's a big part of it, and really just being in better shape, trying to get in better shape to take that next step.
Okay, back right, about 5 rows up in the theater seating. Back right.
Chris Swanson, 24/7 Sports. Hey, I was just wondering if any of you would like to comment on the rivalry with BYU and the break that it's going to take.
I'll handle that one. First of all, we've got a great athletic director in Dr. Chris Hill, and I back him 100%. Any decisions he makes, I'm in complete lockstep with him, and so that's the first thing I'll say. Secondly, as a football coach, really it's the year and the year at hand and the task at hand is all that really matters. They're on the schedule this year, and so we haven't really thought beyond that. I made several comments throughout the course of the summer that, as far as my feelings and needing to make sure that we ensure our home schedule, and in order to do that, with the Pac-12 playing 9 conference games, there's not a lot of room for out-of-conference play, and making sure we do what's best for our university and for our scheduling. And that being the case, I predicted at that point that it was going to be tough to go home and home uninterrupted just indefinitely. And with the Michigan game that we were able to get home and home with Michigan, that's the exact circumstance I was alluding to when I was making those statements. And in order to make sure that we always have at least 6 home games, we like 7, and ideally as a coach you like 8 home games, like a lot of the SEC teams play. But in order to make sure that happens, with only 3 away games and 3 non-conference games and the rotating 4 at home, 5 at home Pac-12 schedule, you got to make sure that when you only have 4 home Pac-12 games, that you have the flexibility to have enough home games in your out-of-conference schedule to make it all work. And so it's a tough puzzle to put together at times, the scheduling. And that being said, something had to give when we got Michigan on the schedule, and so that's what happened. That's what transpired.
Here in the center, second row.
A question for John. Could you talk about being a senior this year and having Harvey and Kelvin, a lot of good young talent coming up? What's it like to be in a position of leadership in your position group now as a senior? And are you expecting to not have to carry as much of the load this year?
Being a senior this year, it means a lot to the younger running backs, for them to learn the ways that I did last year. We have a different running back that coached this year, and coming, Shram went to, Fresno, and a lot of people miss him. But having these young guys behind me, you just really have to just show out at practice and, just be a leader, not by, I'm not a leader by voice, but just a leader by action. And that's how I always practice, just 100%. Once they see that, they just follow.
Back row in the center.
Sarah Cazell, Pac-12 Digital. This question can be for all 3 of you. We've been collecting fan questions from Facebook and Twitter, and Ute Central on Twitter wants to know which lesser-known Utah player or players will be well-known by not only Utah fans but also Pac-12 fans by the end of the season.
So which lesser-known player? Okay,
yes, will now be a household name.
Will be a household name.
Right.
Well, that's a tough one. I try to stay away from those questions. Every year I get, who was the headline recruit that you signed, who was the top guy in the class, and it's, as you look back at past history, it's so tough to predict that stuff. And when they used to do that, when Urban and Coach Mack before that, we'd name the top newcomer. Very rarely did that end up being the case. And so I'm going to tell you, based on spring football, just discounting all the guys that are coming in the fall because we haven't seen them on the field yet, our 2 young quarterbacks, Chase Hansen and Travis Wilson, I believe both of them are going to be stars in our program before it's over with. And now whether that's this year, we got Jordan Wynn coming back, so that there's probably going to be a time frame before that occurs. But I'm going to tell you that those 2 young men are going to be very good football players. We've got a whole host of young linebackers. You talk about our defense, the one area that we're not experienced on defense, but we're long on talent, is at linebacker. And so there's 6, 7, 8 guys in that position group that could become the type of player you're talking about. So I guess I haven't answered your question at all. So that's kind of where we're at. So.
Okay, well, up in the center, about 4th row up in the theater seating.
Brian Golden, Sports USA Radio Network. Coach, we were proud to carry your Sun Bowl victory last year. We talked about on our pregame show last year the perception about finesse offenses in the Pac-12 and the idea that because you have to keep up with the offenses, there aren't that. The perception is that it's more of a finesse type defense. I wonder how much Utah could help change that image across the country, because I know, and Star, you could talk about this too, because I know you guys think you could line up and play sledgehammer defense with anybody in the country.
Yeah, I think we were as physical of a defense as you're going to find. And that's our strong suit. We've hung our hat on that for a lot of years. We've been in the top 20 statistically, and particularly in rush defense, which really is the most physical part of playing defense, is playing the run. And so I think that it's probably a misnomer to say the Pac-12 is a finesse offensive conference. I don't see that. We had several good running backs in this conference, and the offensive linemen, there's a lot of physicality up front, and so I don't really buy into that. But I know, from our standpoint, I feel that physically on defense we match up with just about anybody in the country, especially on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I agree. Our defense, I think we do a good job in playing physical. We got like Coach said, we got a couple of linebackers who they love football and they love to hit. So I think. As a defense, our safeties, they do a good job of coming down, helping on them run corners as well. So physically, I think, like Coach said, we match up with anybody in the country, and I think we'll prove it this year.
Got a question here right in the center.
Kyle, how did you happen to add Sharif Shaw to your staff?
Yeah, it was another unique acquisition, I guess you can say, in the offseason. We hired an attorney as our corners coach, but former attorney, I guess, now. But, Sharif has been, first of all, he was a player in our program. He played way back, I think, 92 or 93 might have been his last season. He suffered a season-ending neck injury that when his junior year that prevented him from playing on. In my opinion, he was a surefire NFL prospect. Now, I wasn't at Utah at the time, but my father was as a defense coordinator, and so I knew all about Sharif. Since that point forward, he has been close to the program. He's been around our team, been around our guys. He's actually been the sideline reporter for the local radio station, as well as being an attorney in town. And I've tried to get Sharif on the staff for 5 or 6 years now. This wasn't something that just came about this season. In fact, there was some other points, like I said early on, that I tried to get him. Now this time around, I said, Sharif, this is the last window of opportunity. I said, if you don't take it this time, I'm not going to ask you again. And so he did some soul searching, talked to his wife, and ended up making the commitment to be with us. And we're very blessed to have him on our staff. He's a passionate, energetic football coach. He's a quick study. I mean, he's got 3 degrees from the University of Utah. He's got a bachelor's, a master's, and a law degree. So he's a smart guy and really a great fit for the corner position, and we're fortunate to have him. I know it's a little unorthodox to go that route, but he did a great job in spring.
We'll stay right there in the center.
Yeah, Greg Katz from ESPN, wearesc.com. You're playing USC, a nationally televised game on Thursday evening. How excited is your program for that opportunity, and what do you think it will take to, I know it's early on, but to beat a team for USC and probably the biggest game in the South Division?
Well, our biggest game right now is Northern Colorado, August 30th. That's the game we're looking towards, and that's one thing that we do not ever do is get ahead of ourselves. Now, obviously, we know the game is out there, and it's going to be a huge event. Thursday night, national TV, and the whole 9 yards. SC, they may very well be ranked #1 in the country by then. Who knows? So we know that's on the horizon. But we got to guard against looking past anybody. We've got our non-conference game, our schedule to play first, but it could end up being maybe the biggest home game that has ever taken place in Rice-Eccles Stadium. We'll find out when that time comes. But if you look at the season as a whole and you point to games that'll probably be very critical in determining who wins championships and so forth, we're sure that's going to be one of them. But like I said, right now all our attention is focused on getting ready and being ready on August 30th when the season opens.
All right, do we have any additional questions? All right, that'll do it. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.